very, very succinct and very quick spaces. I could have did a voice memo, but I think it might be a little bit longer than that. There's a difference between partial numbers and secondary numbers. For example, today's August 23rd, 2023. Okay, you're not going to tell me because the 23rd that somebody's got a partial five. They still have that energy when it applies to humans, when it applies to people. If you are born on the 28th, you're not a partial 28. You're not a partial 28 if you're born on the 28th. That makes no sense. Usually, when we're talking about partial, we're talking about the life path. Now, the life path is more important than the day born. We've said that before. So you go to the secondary number, the day you're born, as a secondary number. If you're born on the 11th or the 22nd, you're not a partial 22 because it's not in your life path. If you're born on the 11th, you're not a partial 11 because you were born on the 11th. You are still an 11. It's just a secondary number. Now, when we say partial, example I'll always use, if somebody's born January 7th, 1978, they are a 33 life path. They're a pure 33. They're not partial because all you can get when you add from left to right, 1, 7, 1, 9, 7, 8, all you can get is 33. There's no other way to pre-reduce it. That applies to the life path. But on the day born, if somebody's born on the 7th, they're not a partial 7. That's a secondary number. Partial only applies to life paths normally. Now, if you have certain months, yes, not all numerologists agree. If somebody's born in November, either you can add that as 11 or maybe a 2. Yeah, you could have some leeway or some wiggle room there. But overall, partial usually only applies to when we're talking about life paths. If somebody's born on the 22nd, they are a master builder, period. Now, people say, oh, you have a horse in the race because you're born on the 22nd. I know what I am. My opinion matters because, number one, I was trained by the best numerologists and astrologists on the planet, Gary the Numbers Guy. Number two, I have more experience studying numerology for years, astrology for years, compared to these people just saying things after they discovered GG33 a week ago. Okay. Number three, I've done thousands of readings for years, studying people and how they interact and what their numbers are. So I know what the fuck I'm talking about. A lot of you other people don't have any stake in the game. You have no skin in the game. You have no business talking about it. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. It's just based on one or two or three people in your personal opinion because a lot of you fours want to be 22s and a lot of you sixes want to be 33s. You're making up your own rules and it's up the game. All right. I'm tired of seeing this stuff on my. You're not a partial 11 if you're born the 11th. You're not a partial 28 because you're born on the 28th. It's a secondary number. When we say partial, it applies to the life path. So if you could add your month, day, and year and get nothing but that number, that's what you are as far as being pure. A pure 33, a pure 22. Now, if somebody's born January 16th, 1978, they are a partial 33 because you can either add the 1 plus 6 or the 1 plus 16 plus 1978. You can get 6 or 33 vibration with the life path, okay? So when we say partial, it applies to the life path. You're not a partial if you're born on that day. Exactly on that day. That's not an accident. That's not a coincidence. To be born exactly on that day, you're meant to be that number. You're meant to have that energy. That's not an accident. If anything, it's more pure than anything. You're born right on that day. There's 30 days out of the month, and you're born right on that day. You're going to say George Washington, who's the first president of the United States, is a partial 22. Really? Really? So George Washington is a partial 22. Does that make any sense? The guy that helped us rebel against the British, who led the revolution against the British, who's the first president of the United States, who led us to victory, is a partial 22 because he's born on the 22nd because it's not in his life path. Now, you could argue like, oh, yeah, he's a rat and he's a 1. You could argue that too, but he's a 22. He helped build this country. That's proof in the pudding. Like when we use key figures like that, they exemplify what the energy really is. Whether we're talking about Napoleons or Hitlers, any major figure in history, they exemplify what that energy is. All right? That's all I wanted to say. Stop the stupid oh, you're a partial because you're born the 11th. You're not a part. Life path is more important. No one is denying that. Life path is number one. Your secondary number, use the word secondary. Your secondary number is the day you're born. Life path is number one. That's more important. But secondary, that matters just as much. What if you're born on the 28th, you're still a 28. Now, as far as percentages, not all of us agree. I would say the life path is probably 60% to 70%, and the day born is probably 30 to 40%, 50. Depending on who you ask, you still have that energy. You're still a master number. It's not a coincidence or an accident if you're born on a master number day. Okay, so use the word secondary. Now, when you use partial, think life path. When you use secondary, think the day or think the day you're born. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Does that all make sense? I hope this makes it very, very clear. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm not mad. I'm just passionate. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. This is not meant to be people talk in this space. This is meant to be a left up for educational purposes. And I will be making another one for YouTube pretty soon. So enjoy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.